Hello everyone, I'd like to show you a directional drill project we did for a gas line. In this case we had two electric lines, the old gas line, a sprinkler system, and about 15 foot of cement all up in the yard. So that's why we chose to go the route of having a directional drill on at least part of it. We did end up cutting an open trench for about 40 feet along the back side of the lot. We'll start at the gas meter here. We cut an open trench from the gas meter back almost to that little shed. Then we took one of the directional drills through the opening here in between the two buildings and then back up to the house right underneath that little window. The second directional drill we picked up about right here and brought it around the side of this wood shop here and dropped one riser off at the corner of the building here and then continued onto the house almost straight in front of us here. The gas line used to come in right behind the air conditioner unit here for a second entrance into the house. The old gas line was a 1-inch steel line coming up to the house in two places, and then it had a 1/2-inch copper line coming up to the little wood shop right there. Other than that, it's just a typical yard. They got a sprinkler system, wires coming up to both of the buildings there, a little bit of cement on this end. We'll have to chop it out to be able to get this dug up to drill into. The old gas line for this part was coming in where the paint marks there are past the hammer, around the left side of that tree. And it teed off and come past where they've got the dirt dug up here and back into the house that way. This is just another view of where we'll have a T and a riser for this building. We don't do a lot of chomping up cement, so nothing too fancy, just a skill saw with a diamond blade in it. I usually just take about 1 inch at a time and do it in 3 passes. A little easier on the saw. That was the old gas line. This end of it wasn't in very good shape either. Sometimes they're worse out under the yard where they get watered more often. While I've been working on this end, my brother got the trench dug across the back and he got started setting a directional drill up. We're going to drill through the bottom of our trench here and then continue on to the house. As directional drills go, this is a fairly small machine. It does good for what we do with it though. We've had it out to almost 500 feet a couple times, but that's really pushing it for what it is. We also built a hydrovac on it, which we use for collecting the spoils. When we drill through the bottom of this trench, we'll go ahead and put a hose in it and suck them up. You can see the angled plate on the end of the drill bit here. That's what controls what direction you're going to be drilling. In this case, you'd be turning to the left. And this would be to the right if you just push straight into it. If you want to drill straight, you just keep it spinning as you're pushing ahead. There's an electronic sending unit in the end of this that tells you what pitch you're at up and down, what the direction right to left is, also what the roll is for what direction your bit is faced, and then how deep you are.
Start to level it.
From there you follow it above ground with the locator and make any corrections you need as you're going along.
Start to level it.
slow your water down. Here we're coming in about 3 inches below the bottom of the trench. We'll stop here and put the hydrovac on it just to keep the water out of the bottom of the ditch. That way it's not so muddy for working in. From here to the house is just drilling and checking where you need to be, following along and making any corrections that you need to keep it going where you want it. Different brands of electronics look a little different, but they all do about the same thing. Once I get over it here, I'll check the depth. It's showing 2 foot 5 inches. Then I'll go ahead and paint a mark there and write it down, so if we do need to dig it up there, we'll have a mark of where to start. This is the last locate we'll have before we get into our hole here. So I'm going to check it pretty close, and then I'm also going to check the right to left on it using the yaw feature. It's saying I'm just a little bit to the right and a hair deeper than what I wanted to be, so I can correct that as I come on in. Come up and to the left a little. That's the end of the bit there. At this stage we can tie on our foley pipe and tracer wire and pull it straight back into the hole. If you're running a pipe larger than what your hole is right now, you can run a back reamer on it and open it up to whatever size you want within reason. But for what we're doing here, it's not necessary. The hole we've got dug already is plenty big for a 1-inch pipe. He's stopping to make a stem change here. Then we'll pull another 10 feet and keep going until we get up to our trench, and then we'll unhook the pipe and tee it into the other line. Riser put on this end, and then we're ready to do the second drill. Here we're getting set up on that. It looks about the same as the first one, so I'll fast forward through it. And here we're starting to pull back the second pipe. I'll do a quick walkthrough after we get all the pipes hooked up. We'll start at the gas meter and come across the first bore, and then circle back from the second bore back to the gas meter. That was the one that goes on the pipe drive. checked an electric line for depth there to make sure we were clearing it decent. Then we came around the tree here at 3 foot deep, on up to the house. On the second bore here, we jumped to the other side of the window. We had a lot more room to work over here. We had our T for the wood shop here, the riser. Then the pipe here, we swung back down the trench to the T for the first bore. We had to leave the trench and ends open until the inspector looked at everything. Then we got to go ahead to cover it all up. We've still got some cement to pour on both of these ends, but at least we don't have to try to put the whole yard back together. There's companies out there that do this every day, but there's not a whole lot of video information out there. A lot of people never really get the chance to see what goes on start to finish. It doesn't matter a lot whether you're drilling for gas, water, fiber, sewer, any utilities. Basically it all looks about the same when you're directional drilling. If there's very much in the way, a lot of times the cost of the directional drilling will easily offset the amount of time and effort it takes to put everything back the way it should be. And sometimes if you're going under a road or even a building, there's just not really any other alternative that you can do the same thing that you can with a directional drill.